Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jenny Tencon. My ID number is S96005206. And the date today is the 27th March 2026. And the location of my presentation this afternoon at USB Common Room. Okay, my topic, it says ecology and food chain. Ecology and food chain. What is ecology? Okay, if you heard that word ecology, the definition, it says ecology is the study of how living things interact with each other and the environment. Okay, this means that our plants, animals, and even tiny organisms depend on one another, and also how they react with things like water, soil, air, and sunlight. For example, a bird depends on trees for shelter, insects for food, and water to survive. All these relationships, all these relationships are part of ecology. Okay, let's move further on. Okay, it says here that during uh, the ecology as I have defined, it says that there are some organisms that live within this environment, and we call them, uh, they are called community of organisms. So in ecology, a community means all the living organisms in one area. In a rainforest community, you will find plants like trees and ferns, animals like insects, birds, and mammals. Decomposers like fungi and bacteria. All these organisms live together and they depend on each other. Okay, so now we will define another new word, or say another new vocab, which says food chain. Let's define this word. When you hear about food chain, it's a common word that you have heard during your past grades that you have attended, maybe in primary, say for example in grade 3 or grade 4 or 5, you heard about food chain. And today I'll be talking about food chain, and that means I'll be talking about more advanced, that's in year 7. So a food chain shows how energy moves from one living thing to another. It tells us who eats what and how energy flows in an ecosystem. For each step in a food chain is called a trophic level. Example of the rainforest food chain. Let's look at this simple rainforest food chain. In yes, I have drawn a diagram here, and it's with this percent, or how many energies all of these consumers produce. As you can see here, the first one is the sun. It produces 100% of energy, and when it passes on to the grass, and that's the time when the energy flows to the other consumer, and let's say that's a primary consumer, that's when the energy decreases to 10%. And when it moves on to the other consumer, the secondary consumer, the bird, it moves to 1%. That means the more it moves up, the more energy it takes. So that means that all of these consumers, they consume the energy, and the intake of energy is less than and less than. Okay, there's types of organisms in the food chain. There are 3 main types of them. As I have said earlier, the first one is the producers. Producers is where the 100% of energy is taken from here. And the consumers and producers come to primary consumer, secondary to tertiary consumer. So for the conclusion, uh, ecology studies shows how living things react, and rainforests are rich ecosystems full of life. Organisms from communities are dependent on each other. Food chain shows how energy flows. Only 10% of energy is passed to the next level when during the process of when the energy flows. So protecting rainforest is very important to keep the system balanced. So that's the explanation on my topic. And the main learning outcome here says for the students to understand the energy flow and to identify the trophic levels such as the producers, consumers, and decomposer. Students will learn to distinguish between the food chain and the energy that flow within the diagram. Thank you very much for listening.